Okay.
I just want to say thank you so much for letting me do this interview. I really, really, truly appreciate it, especially on so short notice. Thank you so, so much.
Okay, no problem.
Thank
Yeah. How much time do you need so that I can alert? I've got another meeting at 5:30.
Oh, that's fine.
That will be fine. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, plus it
Good.
will depend on how we answer the question. So, because I just need like 20 minutes max.
Okay. Good.
Thank you. So, can we start?
Yes, we may.
So, when you were approached to do the Shaka Ilembe project, did you already have your own vision in mind, and or were you expected to execute the director's vision more than yours?
Well, I guess when you walk into a film production, already the director, because we are guided by the script, the director has his own vision in terms of what they would like. But I think, fortunately for me, with Shaka Ilembe, there was a pre-production time where we discussed, and because I was also the creative designer, the visual creative designer for the movement element. So I was part of the process in terms of the development of some of those scenes that required movement. So in terms of the designing of those choreographies, I'll be part of the process of working directly with the director. So yes, the vision kind of like evolved between the director and then the script writer, as well as the other elements that are about the story. So of course we needed to respect the story as much as possible, and that was for sure. The deal breaker is how much do we respect the story, but also importantly, like how much do we keep to the the realities of the time of the time when the story is told. So yeah, so I had to choose choreography that was suiting the
Mm.
time. Mhm.
So I know in a historical drama that there's a lot of research that goes into it, and a lot of I'd say like different departments, sorry, of the production team could do their research on like over the internet or something. But then for a choreographer, how does that research look like? How do you conduct it?
Yeah, I mean, there's only limited information that you can find, from the internet regarding the story itself. What was critical and important was to hear from the the cultural aspects,
Mm.
within the Zulu culture, and also to hear it directly from the family, which means now we visited the Zulu um, kingdom, and to find out from the people who have been the carriers of the story, for us to respect also their traditions and cultures, as well as making sure that as much as we are telling the story today, we stay as far as truthful as possible to the reality of the story. So there was research that was um, the oral research from the family,
Mm.
oral research from the experts, traditional experts of the Zulu culture.
Wow, that is incredible. So since this is a historical drama and you're famous for your very wonderful dance technique, the cocktail, I wanted to ask, how did you implement it in portraying or articulating the story of Shaka?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the spirit of the cocktail that lives in Shaka. It
Mm.
is not the movement aesthetic of it, but the spirituality of it was very much part of the development of the work, particularly when it also came to working with the lead actors. They don't necessarily have to move in terms of choreography that you see visibly,
Yes.
but it was implementing that spiritual connection to the character, and that for me was critical in terms of how they can stretch they are acting through spiritual connection to the character that they play.
Wow.
So yeah, so that was the probably the the heart of the piece. The heart of Shaka Ilemba stays in this the spiritual connection of the actors to the characters.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm just taken back by all that you're saying is really nice. uh, my next question is that I remember I saw in one of the articles about you, you once said that like the audience is the most important part of your work. So with the movement and the choreography that you've implemented in Shaka Ilembe, do you think that the audience will be able to comprehend um the the choreography, and what should they really pay attention to?
Yeah, I mean it's hard to say, because up until we see the all 10 episodes, then probably we can appreciate in totality what the movement edition was in the production. But I will say this, there's far more organized visual feast in this production in season two. I didn't work on season one, and I was brought into season two, particularly for that reason, for bringing in that energy, but also to create order within the chaos. A chaos of war. You're
Yes.
creating the order within that. So and that's something that I think will be appreciated by the audience, is the level of skill
Mm.
that we're able um, to kind of create with the actors. um it does elevate the standard of the work.
Yeah, incredible. So, in terms of collaborating with the costume designers, how did the set and costumes also influence the movements and choreography that you created?
I mean, most of my choreographies were outside.
Oh,
So because once you're in a heart, there's in reality you don't dance inside the heart.
yes.
So all of my work was this. The set was the natural environment. It was the grass. It was the mountain. It was the ground. Perhaps maybe against the hearts. So I was lucky because for me it was the important thing was to create a sense of a community that is living its everyday life
Yes.
while we are doing all these entrances, whether men returning from war or men going to war, with their chant, with their movement, with their dance. And then the women will be ululating and doing their dance. So it has to all feel like it's natural,
Mm.
in a sense. So yeah, and everything happens really in the courtyard, in the yard, of the village. So yeah, it was very much, I think, for me, was to organize things that when you are setting a movement piece, what's happening in the background is very much part of it. Whether men are in the fire or walking, it's all designed.
Wow. So also I saw on your Instagram post you posted that working on Shaka Ilembe was a very sacred journey, and that was a very sacred journey of like merging choreography and history. So were there any
Mm.
challenges of merging the two?
Sure. I mean, I guess the challenge is always like, how truthful can you be while you are thinking of an audience at home, people who are sitting and watching without really the backstory that much. Because some of the things you end up seeing just few seconds of something that was developed over maybe a minute or 2 minutes of choreography. And when it comes to editing, a lot is chopped, a lot is cut, and you might even lose the detailing because of when it goes to the editing suite. we lose a lot of control. It is the director and the editors who then make those choices. Ours was to create a vehicle that was going to help them make those kind of choices.
Oh.
So the merge of history with choreography, yes, certainly, it lives within the work. We had to feed from the historical context, but also to bring in my choreographic skill in order for it to look dated in a sense, not outdated. It to look like, okay, we can see this today, but it's not. It doesn't feel like it's outdated.
Hmm. So with that being said, talking about being on set, did it ever feel like you've traveled back in time? And in that space, is there anything that you have discovered about the Zulu Nation?
I mean, there's Amahubo, the kind of musicality, and music and dance. Again, it emphasized for me that music and dance are inseparable. Um, and you see it in terms of when the men or the women go into Amahubo. Amahubo a storytelling in itself. It's a song that tells a story. It's a story. It's a song that evolves because a certain thing has to be evoked. A certain spirit has to be evoked. Um, or men have to be inspired to go to war, or men to be celebrated when they're coming from war, or women to be celebrated for being the keepers of their homes when the men are at war. So those Amahubos were really about um, acknowledging their existence, but also at the same time, yeah, I think celebrating who they are. And that for me was quite profound to realize within the story, just the power in song.
Wow. Which leads me to my next question, where I want to ask if you can share any scene you think that you were most proud of that the audience should look for. If you can
Yeah,
share, you don't have to. If you can share.
yeah. I mean, I'm not allowed to divulge in terms of the episodes that have not been seen yet,
Oh
in
yeah.
terms of the actual episode itself. But I am looking forward to seeing those moments of death. I think we
Mm,
saw one in episode one already.
yes.
And those are the dark moments for me that gave me joy.
Wow.
The joy in terms of how far we can go with those scenes, the depth of them. So yeah, I enjoyed those scenes where there is depth. I
Wow.
guess it's where I'm at now in this space with Sion, with the productions that I've made, and my new production that I'm making now, Genesis, the beginning and the end of time. So it's all around, how do we find or pave a path in darkness? How do we create light in darkness?
Wow. That's incredible. I can't wait
Yeah.
to see the new production. I'm gonna
Yes,
ask
yes,
my
yes.
mother to
It's
take me.
coming.
I really, really love your work. I really, really do. So
Thank
my last
you.
question is, working on Shaka Ilembe season 2, what did you learn about, or anything new that you learned about your choreographic voice?
Well, I mean, it carries a lot of humanity.
Mm,
Also, with that humanity, it requires a lot of empathy.
yeah.
Empathy for the culture, for the tradition, for the people. Um, yeah, and every time we will go on set, it was about ensuring that everybody, who are either extras coming on set for the first time, they are taken care of in terms of um, they also walk away feeling that, hey, we're part of the story.
Mm,
we're not just walking there, but either by singing, either by learning the movement, they
Yes.
feel like they're contributing to the story itself. So that requires a lot of humanity and empathy.
Thank you so much, Gregory. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. All the best.
Thank you. Enjoy the
Yes.
rest of your night.